Hello, well, we're back for our second podcast, and we've got so much that we want to share, so many ideas. So I hope you're enjoying this. One of the things that for us has been really, really important is mentorship. And we were just discussing our mentors that we've had in the past. And shall I start?
Yes, okay. Yeah. You've had some fantastic mentors. So you're a dancer, a ballerina, and danced all around the world. But when you finished dancing, or who was your first mentor, actually?
Actually, my first mentor and my sweetest mentor was 92 years old, and I was 10. And I was far away from home. I was at ballet school, and I discovered this little village near where I was staying with this family that I wasn't particularly happy with, actually. And it had a beautiful little church. And I went to the church one day. I could hear the singing. I went in and sat at the back. And afterwards, this little lady came and said, "Would you like to have tea with me?" So we sat in the garden and had a cup of tea. And I was telling her about being at ballet school, and she was just amazingly understanding. She treated me like an adult. She was really beautiful. And her wisest words that she gave to me were, "Always do what makes your heart sing, Suzanne. If it doesn't make your heart sing, don't do it." And I've kept those words because sometimes I've been offered to do things and it just hasn't felt right. And she has come back into my mind. Yeah. And it's like, would Mrs. Temple, well, if I spoke to her, she would ask me, "Is this making my heart sing?" And no, it isn't. So I've actually had to learn to say no over the years. And that was one of my big lessons from her. And the other one that I learned very early on was that she noticed I said sorry a lot. I was almost sorry for being around. I was sorry that I was in people's way. I was always apologizing. And she said, "Why do you keep saying sorry?" Why? I said, "It's almost like a habit." But because of my family background, because of being in a very disciplined school where you're constantly saying sorry if you make one mistake, it had become almost a safety default for me, was to say sorry. And we had a chat about it and decided how I could change sorry and what I should change it into. And so I changed it into thank you. So I changed all my sorries into thank yous. So even when I was sorry for something that has happened, I'm grateful for it now. And that's really changed my life. So changing my sorries into thank yous, that was really incredible advice. She was such a wise, beautiful lady. And she really was my best friend when I was 10. She was the person I'd go to, and it became a regular habit. She actually had this beautiful little cottage that I would visit, and we would garden together. She'd teach me to garden and to grow herbs, and then we'd have afternoon tea. And she was such a lovely, lovely lady. And I actually went back to Sonning many years later, and I found her grave. And I knew she'd passed away because she'd have been about 150, and wow. Nobody can live that long yet. But I found her grave and I laid some flowers on it, and I felt incredibly sad and incredibly grateful that I'd had such an amazing mentor.
Yeah. Is Sonning, is that near London?
Yeah, it's in Surrey. It's outside London. It's close to where I was living when I was at ballet school. Yeah. You used to have to take a train.
I know you've had another mentor that's very, very, well, close to you in the family.
Oh, my mum. Yeah, my mum. My mum was my greatest teacher. I look back now and I have so much. When I think of her, I feel sorry. And I didn't understand what she was going through. My mum had bipolar, and we had a lot of lows of bipolar, but very few of the highs, which is often, most people have highs and lows, but we really had lows. She was very depressed and suffered badly from depression and could never see the joy in life. Even when things were going well, there was always a sadness around her. And as a mother, she used to tell me that she couldn't be a mother because she didn't know how to be a mother. And I remember looking at her and thinking, well, I'm going to learn to be a mother. So when I am a mother, I never say that to anybody because I want to be a really good mother. And I used to watch movies. Hayley Mills was a very famous actress in England at the time. And she'd, do you remember the Mills family? Yeah. I loved her. I wanted to look like her. I wanted to be like her. And though all her stories were with these beautiful families and there were mother figures that were incredible. And I'd look at these mothers and think, and take from them what they did and how they behaved with their children. So yeah, my mum was a great teacher to me. She was such a great teacher. And one of the things I'm proudest of is being a good mum. And she taught me that because she taught me how not to be a good mum. And I had to go and really research how to do it. And my other mentors, actually, I've got at the moment are my grandchildren.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Aren't children the best mentors, particularly little babies? And toddlers, and they're in the moment, and you can't be doing anything else when you're around them. They definitely want all your attention, and I know my children did, and now our grandchildren definitely do. They even move my head sometimes, so make sure I'm looking at them and giving them absolute 100% attention. So those are my mentors. I mean, I've had so many wonderful mentors and teachers, and I know you have too. Who was yours?
Well, Savvy is 6 and Lucas is 3. Oh my God. By the end of the day, we're so tired and worn out. So, they're great lessons, but they're so in the moment. They're always having fun and enjoying their lives. So it's it's a great reflection of how you've brought Katie up and what you'll pass on to them as well, because they're beautiful children and that as well, and the grandchildren. So you have done a great job as being a mum and that. So that's been fabulous. For me, my mentors, I've had lots of fantastic mentors. When I was in the police, I had the nervous breakdown, and I had my son pass away, and my brother pass away, and a few of my friends were killed in action and that as well. So I had the nervous breakdown. The police doctor advised me to go and learn how to relax and how to control my stress. So I went to a guy called Paul Blackburn. He was my first mentor. He was teaching about having a positive mindset and how your brain works and how to sleep better and how to let go of the past. So one of the things he taught me, I was very, very fortunate. He took me under his wing and mentored me on how to do public speaking and presentation. So the first one he told me, everyone is a disaster before they become a master. So I remember my first talk, I was an absolute disaster. He got me to speak for an hour on sleep techniques, and my brain went completely blank. I lost the whole plot of what I had to say. And all I said to him, I have no trouble sleeping, so I'll pass it over to you. Thanks, Paul. So that was my first, and that was supposed to be an hour talk. So I just lost the plot. And so I passed it over to him. And so I had to learn lots about public speaking and doing presentations and all that sort of fun sort of stuff. So, and another mentor told me, don't take advice from broke or unhappy people unless you want to end up like them. So that's been great advice over the years. I'm now nearly 72, but I've taken that advice in, because if the people haven't, there's a lot of people that are giving advice, but they're not really, really successful. I see a lot of people in personal development now and these life coaches, and virtually they haven't got the runs on the board. They're broke. They've got terrible relationships and all that sort of stuff. So they're not out there walking their talk. So that was another great one, is don't take advice from broke or unhappy people unless you want to end up like them. Your past does not equal your future. Your destiny is in your hands. So I've had lots of bad things happen in my past, so I had to let go of all those things and also a lot of forgiveness from another mentor. You got to forgive yourself first and then forgive others for what's happened in the past. So having a positive mindset has been a real, obviously it's a work in progress. It's a never ending journey. But I do believe in having a positive mindset is so important. It's great for all your relationships, your health, your wealth as well, your finances, because I come from a scarcity background, and I know you come from a wealth, an abundant mentality. So, would you like to share on your on abundance and my scarcity?
So I wasn't born into abundance. I was born into a comfortable middle class, upper middle class home. My grandparents were very wealthy and had a beautiful home. My dad worked very hard. He was Irish from Northern Ireland, and actually till the day he died, even he would always, if he bought a new pair of shoes, I can see him now putting his foot on the floor and cutting around it on a newspaper. And it's like, Dad, what are you doing? And he'd have 3 or 4 pieces of newspaper and then a piece of cardboard, and he'd line his shoes with that because he didn't have a pair of shoes until he was 24 years old. And that was when he was in the Royal Air Force, and he got some boots.
Was that to cover the holes in the shoes?
Yeah. So he always was worried that his shoes would get holes. So he put the cardboard and the paper in. So if he had holes in his shoes. Yeah. So he did not come from lots of money. In fact, my father would always say, you can't have 3 things. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I seem to say it a lot, but he would say, you can't be healthy, wealthy, and happy, and you have to choose one. And my brother and I couldn't understand why we had to choose one. We wanted to be all 3. And we knew some of our friends' families had everything and they were happy, healthy, and wealthy. So it's like, oh, why can't we have those? So it was it wasn't an abundant background. However, I had this inner core belief in happiness and miracles and magic, I suppose. And I always saw everything as being abundant. I still do, as you know. And I feel that there's enough for all of us. If only the world could get sorted out, we certainly have a lot of abundance. But yeah, I think that's the difference between the 2 of us and our backgrounds. But I did have an amazing benefactor who showed me that there was abundance. And then I was, as a dancer, I was surrounded by people with a lot of money. And I saw that. And I saw also money doesn't make you happy. I did see that. And I also saw that you have to take 100% responsibility for everything in your life and everything that's not in your life. So for the people who are always complaining, or they just see the world so differently and dark, again, my mother was a really good example of that constant depression. And then to meet people who had a higher vibration and just a feeling of pure happiness that you want to be around them. And we're responsible for that. We can make that choice every day, whether we're going to be moody and sad and see all the awful things that have happened to us and let that define us. As you said, don't let your past define you. But when bad things happen, we can't let them, well, some people do, but it doesn't help anybody if you let that define you, and it carries through into following generations. So finding the good in people, finding the happiness in the world, looking for the good. And one of the best things you can do for that is when things are going wrong in your own life, to give to others. By giving back to others, there seems to be a natural law. It's a law that
law of attraction.
Yeah, law of attraction. Yeah, it is. It's just the more that you give, the more you receive. It is a basic law in the universe that I don't think enough people talk about, because by giving to others, you make yourself feel great, and you made other people feel great, and it filters through. And as you know, I have a little thing that every week I do 3 acts of anonymous acts, by the way, of kindness. And if I ever get found out, if somebody says, oh, I know that you did that, then I have to do 3 more. So it's a little thing I've done for quite a few years, actually. So
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
me happy. I love it.
Yeah, and the people, we know that the results of people love it too, because they try and work out, you know, who gave the gift or whatever, you know what I mean? So you're a master of you know, doing that. So I've seen the results of that as well. So it's been an amazing journey. So yeah, so let's finish up with this one, and
Okay.
we're working on another one. So we're looking forward to catching up, and I hope these have been great for you. So you can have the last word.
Yes, and I hope you find amazing mentors and always do what makes your heart sing. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.